Hi, welcome to the Catholic Corner. I'm Monsignor Walter Nolan. I always liked homes that had a name to them, not just the name of the family, I guess, but kind of call a home by a name. This morning we're in Clement House, a home. It's a two-story freestanding house on the grounds of a beautiful church in our diocese, St. Clement's Church in Matawan, New Jersey. It provides one family in crisis with rent-free for up to 24 months. Clement House also provides an umbrella of opportunities for building skills of self-esteem, such as education, job training, parenting, assistance and budgeting skills. Families that are sharing their home here are eventually transitioned into permanent housing. I'm on location now at Clement House with members of a family who currently live here and share their love and their blessings here. Karen and Hardo Truns and their 26-year-old son, Misha. Also joining me is the president of Clement House, Frank Mack, and board member Jane Slee. This program is really part one of a two-part special featuring program that we have of Clement House. It was established 20 years ago in 1990. The actual house was built in 1992. So this morning, we'll meet the Truns family and hear how Clement House is helping them put their lives back together as they lost both their home and their business. When you lose something like that, I even just get chills thinking about it. Thoughts, memories, pictures, you know what the whole thing's about. See, the home in Union Beach was destroyed by Superstorm Sandy. And their business, their art studio in Keyport, was also demolished by that same superstorm. I would imagine that almost all of you that are with us this morning watching this either have suffered in the storm or know people have suffered in the storm, and sometimes there's many still suffering. Frank, you're the president of Clement House. Tell me how we started to build this house for the homeless, how it came to be, and who started it, how it started. And
Well, it's a marvelous story, Monsignor. In the late 80s, we had a social concerns committee here at the parish, and they were a very vibrant organization. We had a food pantry. Sister Mary Waters headed it up, and one day she said to Frank Smith and me, why don't we see what else the families need besides just the food that we serve them? So we started visiting the families who were members of the food pantry and concluded quite quickly that they needed housing. Many of them were losing their houses, losing their apartments. So we went to Monsignor Strano and said, what can we do to help these people? He said, well, I don't want to rent an apartment, but I have all this property behind the church. Why don't you build a house? I mean, how do you respond to that?
Conversations come to full term when you ask the questions.
Yeah, exactly. But we were fortunate. We met with the New Jersey Shore Home Builders Association. They provided contracting help. They got their members to donate materials and labor. It took us 2 years to get it done, but with the support of the parish, we had all kinds of fundraisers in order to generate some money. And we finally finished the house in '92. Bishop Reese was here and blessed the house. It was just a marvelous culmination of what we set out to do.
That's just the beginning of the story. I can imagine. It just does my heart good, and I'm sure everybody's heart good, just to imagine how you, out of a conversation, what else can we do? And someone says, well, I know what you could probably do.
Go build the house.
Thanks a million. But did some of the parishioners actually help build it, or was it done by a construction company, or how did that?
No, we had lots of volunteers to come and assist in the construction of the house. The contractor was president of the New Jersey Shore Home Builders Association. He was on the job site constantly. And then when it came to, after we finished the structure, to furnishing the house, we got the parishioners to work with a dollhouse that had images of all of the furniture in the house, they would pick one of those units out, and that's what they would commit to provide. And that's how we got the house furnished.
You know, just in my own mind, knowing and being around families that have built homes, or I'm sure lots of the women had a lot of fun. You know, deciding, well, this chair would be wonderful here, and and with these drapes or whatever it is. But that's the home, isn't it?
Well, Monsignor, we had a parishioner who did, as Frank said, build a replica, and it was in the back of church, and we sold chances on it. And we made $700 by selling chances on the dollhouse.
Isn't that a great idea?
And then the women of the parish and myself sat down and wrote a list of every item that you need to furnish the home. And then with that, we had 2 easels put up above $10, below $10, because not everybody can give that much. Sure. And there wasn't one item left to pick off the easel by the end of 11 o'clock Mass. Everything was taken, and the home was furnished by the parish.
Don't they do some of these kind of things when you got to help me out with all this? When a young fella and girl are getting married, don't they have they give you a list now when you go to the store and pick off the things on the list or something? Mm-hmm. Kind of the same thing. You know,
same concept.
You know what's neat about all of that is I always, you know, scripture kind of pops in my head, and I just keep thinking, you know, that you know, Christ is the bridegroom and we're the bride, so to speak. And you know, and so out of the bridegroom and his love and the bridegroom of St. Clement's Parish, and the brides all put it together so nicely. God love you. Mm-hmm. Wow, that must have been a joy. Now tell me, the house is here for 20-something years.
20 years.
What? How many families have come?
This is the Trunzes are the 16th family that have lived in the house. When we decided to go with this project, we said we don't want a family that's just going to live here and move on. We want to be able to provide all of the services they might need to become independent. So we look after their educational needs. We set up budgets for them so that they're putting money aside that'll be available when they leave the house so that they can move into more permanent housing. We look after their health, did a lot of job referrals. So we were concerned with getting everything lined up for them so that when they leave, they're in a position to be able to be self-supporting.
Frank, have you been president all these years?
Pretty much, yeah. They haven't found anybody else that will do this.
What you do is have a meeting, and then if somebody goes to the restroom, that's the person that you choose to.
I'll remember that.
That's the way a lot of things work that I've been involved in. You know? So you've had 16 families.
Yes.
Now, have they all moved into this area? Or what's the success story, so to speak?
Well, there are a number of success stories, but there are a number of failures as well.
Really?
2 or 3 of the families that lived here couldn't stand the discipline of that we brought to their family unit, and a couple of them moved on, and one of them we really had to ask to leave because it was we just weren't accomplishing what we set out to do. And there are other families out there that could use the unit. So, but in general, some of the families have been very successful.
Well, it's true to the reality of life.
Yes.
You know, we're all so different, and we operate kind of in different ways, and it hopefully God directs us to where we all should be going. How do you find the families, or how do the families find you, and how do you go about deciding? What happens if there's 2 or 3 families? That must be very
difficult decision.
That's the hardest.
But when there isn't an opening here, I'm also the president of the St. Vincent de Paul at St. Thomas More. So when there's an opening here, I write to all the other conferences in the area and ask for their search for candidates. Many times we're fortunate and able to come up with somebody who really needs and can use the house. This time we really wanted to get a Sandy victim family in here, and it just worked out that the Trunzes application came to our attention.
Wow, I'm sure Sandy still has effects in lives. And
Yes.
um, uh, who makes the final decision? Yourself or is it a board?
Oh, no, the board. We have
Uh-huh.
an 11-member board.
Mhm.
We look at all the applications,
Mhm.
interview all of the folks who are interested in moving in, and then we brainstorm.
Sure.
Who has the best chance of success if they come into the house?
And you know, Frank and Jane, I'll say yourself too. You know, you mentioned St. Vincent de Paul Society. That's a tremendous other great gift of, I think, of our diocese and parishes, and any parish that has, I think, just the experience of working out of that ministry and prayerfully doing it out of that ministry is it's a great gift that we have in the diocese. I know your home, your ministry doesn't just put a roof over heads. You do lots of things. How do they learn what services are available to them, or what they need, or
We have a management committee that meets with them. When the family first comes in, we generally meet every week just to acquaint them with what we want to do and what we expect from them. When the family comes in, they sign a 6-month contract, and we set up goals for them to achieve. If they achieve them, we will renew for another 6 months, and we can do that up to 2 years. 2 years is the maximum that
Wow.
we felt that if we can't accomplish what we set out to do in 2 years, it's not going to happen. But
So they're the basic requirements. Are there any other requirements that they would have?
no.
Good. That's terrific. That's terrific. You're sitting here saying, when are we going to be able to this is the beautiful family that's this is your home now, and how did you find out about Clement House?
Well, I can pop in on this one. I was going to FEMA a lot after the storm to get aid or get information, and at one of the visits, I was there for quite a long time. We spoke about an hour and a half with the young woman, and we were trying to solve housing. We were trying to solve some of the issues that were unresolved. And so she kind of reached under the table and she said, there's an application that came in today for something called Clement House. And we'd never heard of it. And she said, you're the second person I'm giving it to today. So she was very careful, I think, about who she gave even the application to. And so I literally went into the parking lot after that and called up Frank and spoke with your wife the first time. And then he called back and he sent me the application, and it was quite an intense, I believe, application to fill out. It was really you had to really be honest and pour your heart out to kind of state where you are and why you are, and that's how we applied. That's how we found out from FEMA.
Wow. Hardo, Karen, and Misha. You know, that's like a biblical family coming into the blessings, of a beautiful church. Tell me, I'm sure you could talk for hours about this, but when Sandy hit, your home was around here somewheres?
Yes, it was in Union Beach.
Union Beach.
Bayview Avenue, which is just across from an open marsh field. So we stayed, and we thought we could sit out the storm, but then the water came up and we had to leave.
How
Around
high did
5:30.
your water come?
We weren't there when the water was high, so it was about, how high was it, 5 feet there, 4 feet from the ground?
On the
Wow.
ground up.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably as much as I am. I'm like
Depends
6
where
feet.
on the property.
It went very quick. It was very quick. We thought we could just stay overnight. We knew that we would lose power, and suddenly we looked out the front door and we'd never seen water coming across the street so fast. So we just grabbed everyone. Luckily we had moved the cars, but he had his truck because it's higher around the block. So he ran, got the truck, and we got ourselves some minimal things, 2 cats, and all of us squished in the cab, and off we went. So to safety in Old Bridge, to friends in Old Bridge.
And I knew it started to get bad because that night, before the cell phone services went out, I was constantly texting a friend who had actually stayed, and I actually got really nervous because he was in his house, and he said the water's
nearby to where you were.
Yes.
yeah, basically like a block away. And he's like, we've got 2 feet of water in our house. Then he said, we got 3 feet of water in our house. Then he said, we're stuck on the 2nd floor. So at that point, I really was like, yeah, our house was probably pretty damaged, or like in bad shape at that point. And I was also kind of frightened for him because what if the water kept coming? So at that point, it kind of just sunk in that, yeah, this was really bad. This wasn't just something you see on TV.
And also your business.
Yeah, that was in the
yeah.
neighboring town of Keyport.
Yeah.
Yeah, the water came up and it smashed through the front window, and there was massive amounts of debris in there. Parts of telephone poles, all of the vegetation from the bay, parts of the other restaurants, and signage, and
Sand and dirt.
dirt and muck, and
Now, was your business like a store business, or was it another home kind of business? Or
no, it was an art studio, but I also did yoga classes in there. It was so it stored all of our art materials, and it was also like sometimes we use it as a gallery. So all the paintings then got drowned. They got
were these some of
destroyed.
your own artistic works?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
Wow.
yeah. And but it's interesting. You know, it's very interesting. In the midst of that, I had a big stained glass sunflower in the window. You know, really about so high, really big. And believe it or not, that stayed intact. So the water came around it, underneath it, through it. Telephone poles didn't affect the sunflower. So it was this image I think I have forever that you know, somehow there was still light and hope and something so, you know, seemingly delicate.
I don't know if anybody else. I get chills just listening to this.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the vision of what you were saying, like, you know, a piece that was a blessed piece. It's like I guess going way back to the wartime when they bombed in Germany the town of Cologne, and the cathedral stayed. You know, so I mean, there's always some kind of signs. And I'm also kind of thinking when you were talking. But you know, the great, beautiful Saint Teresa one time said, you know, when she was caught kind of in a storm, she said, you know, this is how you treat your friends, though. No wonder you only got a few, you know. I mean, I could just imagine, you know, just the adrenaline and everything else, and the safety, and God. What was the worst part of the experience?
For me, I can answer that very easily. Nature happened.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the worst. I think the reality of the bureaucracy afterwards is much, much more daunting than a flood that comes and actually takes away your things and your property. I think that's more frustrating. That I can say now has been
Interesting.
the
Karen,
biggest
yeah.
struggle. Yeah.
You're the first person of all people I've talked about the storm that said something like that.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Hardo, how about yourself? What was that?
Later on, when we had to take down the house, and I was there.
Was this your own home? Was this a home
Yes,
that you owned?
we lived there for 25 years.
Oh my gosh.
And the kids grew up in the house. We, all 4 of us, built a lot on the house with our hands, so that was kind of tough to take it down.
Yeah. To demolish it.
To demolish it, because it was too destroyed to repair. Yeah.
I get the chills listening to that too.
Yeah,
Monsignor.
you know,
It's just devastating.
My family had a home that wasn't. It was up on pilings or whatever you call it, but the whole underneath thing was gone. But the living quarters weren't. So I can feel what they felt, and I can feel that what you guys are feeling for yourself. So you're a young man, you know. I mean, I don't know if you have a girlfriend or what, but I don't know if a picture gets lost or gets found.
I don't know, I would say the entire event was more like a rude awakening to
Yeah,
life. The hardest part probably, this might sound a little silly, was actually kind of like the loss of my room.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, that's not silly.
that used to be my focal point where I could go, there'd be privacy, there'd
Yeah.
be calm.
Yeah.
And without that, things kind of just went into chaos after a
We
while.
all have caves.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that with all love. You know, that's a marvelous thing. Yeah, yeah. Did later on, did anything like, I don't know what to say, something like a piece of paper, piece of art float around, and someone found it and said, "I think this belongs to you"? Anything like that happen?
Not really.
Not really?
But there were miraculous things even in the middle of all the chaos. I gave art classes in this space. With all the chaos that happened, a bookshelf was knocked all over, and there was glasses that we used, about so big, clear glasses as water glasses, to rinse your brushes, and they were all lined up. And the way that all the water pushed the bookcase, everything around, it turned the bookcase on its back and it fell. And every single one of those glasses was absolutely untouched, along with the porcelain, the plates that we mixed paint on, as if someone had just said, just it's okay, it's all right. It just was not broken, not chipped, not even lined up, but on its back.
I hope and pray that you've done a little bit of sketching or painting of something of all of this that you're talking about. I think it would be, it's almost all of these disasters that we have, when you put it into, from like almost the poetry of a painter or something, and you put it out there, it has lots of meaning, and people can talk about it forever and see it forever. How'd you cope with all this? Holding hands together, talking?
Talking with the family. In the beginning, we were so busy with cleaning up that your mind is focused on the work you have to do. And then we moved to Jackson to
My parents.
her parents, which was very tough. I coped a lot with after work or lunch breaks, just going to any little park around here, walking, sitting, and then go back to work or back to Union Beach. Yeah.
Kind of getting the spirit fulfilled again, getting more strength out of it all. Whoa.
I do think it brought all of us much closer.
Yeah, I think definitely.
Very close.
Yeah.
Very close. The four of us, really. Our daughter isn't
You
here
know what
today.
I think happens in things like this? Either we get closer, or we break up a little bit.
Yeah.
Somehow or other, that's always the dynamic that goes on in life, So now you're here, and not only is the home of your hearts are here. Tell me a little bit about coming here, living here. What does how has it helped you kind of grow again into your future?
I'd say for myself, again, the biggest thing is, again, the room. It gave me the focus and the grounding that I really needed. Because that, and also, again, another silly thing is it gave me an internet connection. And something that you don't really realize, I mean, it's one of those things you kind of take for granted. But all the electrical devices and everything, see, I'm an IT professional, so that's huge. And during that time period, you really, it's like just something's just taken away when you lose all that. And I mean, without that, it was really tough to just keep going. However, getting it back, it really meant a lot to me, because it meant I could continue my job search, could continue with everything. I could continue with life. That's basically what it was.
Sure. It's the ruah, that's the breath of God coming right back into you, and that breath of God comes in many, many different ways, Mom and Dad, how about yourself? When you come here and realize you've been here now a little while?
Well, I think one of the first things that we noticed when we came in and wanted to make that really clear was how peaceful this house is. It is a house of peace. And in peace you can grow again. And you can plant again. And you can dream again. Where I think before we were almost incapable of even dreaming again. It felt like that there was a real block to just having a wish.
Isn't that our faith? There's deaths, but there's always a resurrection.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to fight through the death because it's not easy stuff, but there's always resurrection, and that's the gift from the cross to the crosses of our lives, I think. What advice do you give anybody else? Any other homeless people that might come and share their story with you?
Never give up hope, always, and not sit back or retract, always talking to people and see what possibilities are out there, and listen and pray and go and there will always be something for everybody if you really believe in it, and you will have a house again or what you need.
And out of that brick and mortar, if that's what we say, comes the living spirit of a home, doesn't it? you know, and we can do it. Well, what do you attribute to the success? And you can all chime in, I guess, huh? The success to Clement House. It seems that this is a very blessed, sacred place, and what really makes it work and keeps it going?
Well, Monsignor, I think I can attribute a lot of it to Monsignor Strano, because he's the one who basically stood behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And he also showed us the way, you know, to help others.
Sure.
And then our own board, because we gel together, we support each other, and we realize that there is a need in the community, and we reach out and have people reach out to us so we can help them.
Terrific, Frank. How about yourself? You're at the very, you know, part of the cement here. You know, I hope you got your shoes somehow, or other with a little.
We've been very fortunate to have people on the board who are from all walks of life. They're able to give us the inspiration that we need to help the families that are living here. They provide a variety of services for the what we call the clients, and it's just very rewarding work. I have to say that it's something that we've enjoyed over the years, and hope to continue to enjoy for another 20 years.
Wow, what a blessing! Tell me now, is your business starting to also be resurrected? What's happening with that?
Yeah, we found a new space in a neighboring town of Hazlitt, and we're starting to build up again. And we were very, very fortunate. We received a grant from an organization, an art organization in New York, for artists. And with that, we were able to, you know, put a down payment and a security deposit and buy some materials and supplies. And that grant really helped us also get back on our feet.
Yes.
Because we can't return to the space that we were renting before because of the mold issues, because of it's actually health hazards for that space. So we had to find something brand new. So we're step by step.
Yeah, your son. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Are you going to say
I
something?
said yes. Yes.
Oh, good. Now we know your son's an IT man, so he's got, you know, maybe he's got a little bit of the brains behind it. But your art is continuing, and you can now offer it to people in the community, or however you do that. And
It will. Well, my art, all of it got drowned. I work on silk, and all of it was buried under, you know, a lot of muck. Friends of mine and I were able to dig it all out and clean it, and
so
it's the magic of silk.
We're continuing all of our journey.
We're still continuing all of that.
What a great story.
Yeah.
You know, please keep us in prayer. We'll keep you in prayer. Tell your story to someone so that we can share it always with the gift of God's love. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monsignor.
Very
Thank you.
nicely. God love you.